Yo, what's up guys? It's Dogbone here with a Bad Batch Season 3 prediction. The season is right around the corner, and what better time to predict how the season will unfold until now, pretty much. So I'm going to be analyzing what we know in the past for Bad Batch, like in Season 2, and what we see in the trailer, and giving my thoughts on what I think will happen. So hopefully I'm somewhat right and not completely wrong on this, but at the same time, I want to be wrong and be surprised. And yeah, I'm really excited for this, and let's get right to it. Okay, so the trailer starts out with Wrecker and Hunter driving a tank along a very narrow road where Phee comes in to save the day. And I'm assuming that they obviously go back to Pabu to get Phee for this mission, and Phee obviously has to know about Tech because she is committed to helping them. As in the past, she was like, can I trust you guys, all this and that. From my knowledge, that's how it was. If I'm wrong, let me know. I think the biggest thing in this part, though, is you see someone wearing Crosshair's armor in this particular scene and on Phee's ship as well. I'm pretty sure that might be the Marauder, or if that's a different ship that she has, but someone is wearing Crosshair's armor. People are saying it's Crosshair. It could very well be anyone, like maybe Echo or maybe Rex before he gets his new armor that he gets later, and we'll talk about that. And I mean, yeah, I mean, if Crosshair escapes, that's definitely him, and that's a very, very big thing to tease early on and about. But I think Crosshair does actually appear here, and that he escapes Tantus somehow. I wonder if in the 3-episode premiere he will escape. I don't think he will escape that soon, though, as we do have a leak from episode 1, which I'll be covering as well, and what I think happened there and what is going to eventually happen from there on out. But yeah, I do think that this is Crosshair, and I do think that Phee is going to help the Bad Batch against the Empire, knowing that Tech is dead. After that, we advance to Hunter and Rex having a conversation on a ship, and they're talking about how they're losing more brothers after the war has ended, and how Rex thought that he wouldn't lose as many brothers after the war ended. We get some flash scenes with Teth. If you don't know what Teth is, it's in the Clone Wars movie. I know a lot of people probably forget about it because it's the Clone Wars movie. But Teth seems to be under attack here by the Empire, which I think is a big thing that happens because it means a lot to the clones. And there's also a crashed ship in which you can see 2 individuals walk out of it, which makes me think that it might be Crosshair and Omega, unless if it's a couple of TK troopers coming out. I highly doubt that, though, because why would there only be 2 TK troopers coming out of a ship that crashed? Like, it's not like a little ship, it's a big ship too, and only 2 TK troopers would be kind of weird to put in there. I would say that this is Crosshair and Omega escaping Tantus, and they crash land on a planet, and they find a way to contact Hunter, Wrecker, and maybe Echo, possibly Rex. And yeah, that's what I think happens there with that. And as far as Teth, I have no idea what they're going to do with that. I don't know if there's a secret in there that they're keeping, or if they're just damaging it because the clones are starting a rebellion against the Empire. We then get scenes of TK troopers and the Empire seeming to invade Pabu, which probably means that they found it, or Omega or Crosshair maybe snitched on them if they did escape Tantus and they found out about Pabu, or they placed a tracking device on the Marauder or whatever ship Hunter and Wrecker were in. And what do I think happened? I think that the Empire found Pabu because they placed a tracker on one of their ships, and that's how they knew where they were. And they invaded, trying to look for the Batch and trying to probably kill them. I honestly think that Pabu is aware of this attack. I don't think that this is a surprise attack. As much as like they're screaming and the TK troopers are marching in, I think Pabu is aware that they're going to be found by the Empire, and which obviously shows that, you know, Wrecker and Hunter are probably doing something on their own, and they're not actually on Pabu in this scene. But again, that's my crazy thing. Maybe I'm wrong and it is a surprise attack, and Hunter and Wrecker have to defend against the Empire on Pabu to save the land. But Pabu is definitely one of the spots where people are saying that Hunter and Wrecker are going to stay on after this is all over with Omega, probably Crosshair, and who knows, maybe Echo. But, Pabu I don't think will last. I think that the Empire might wipe it out and destroy it like they did to Kamino. They are very well capable of doing that, and Palpatine will manipulate everything to put shame on the clones. They'll probably have the clone commandos do it, and then all hell breaks loose pretty much. So that's my theory there, is that the Empire does actually unexpectedly attack Pabu, but the batch defends successfully against them and they're pushed out. However, the Empire still will want to destroy Pabu, and they eventually get their wish true. Now, coming up next, we have a very, very minor scene with Omega and Crosshair in Tantus where they pass by each other. Crosshair seems visibly upset or tired, or he's not feeling well. I think that he knows that Tech is dead. I think that Omega tells Crosshair eventually, and Crosshair feels responsible, seeming as he knows if he joined the batch at the time and never went against the Empire, his brother would still probably be alive, and they wouldn't have to worry about running from the Empire, and they could just hide as rogue clones and survive on their own, maybe finding Pabu, and they just settled there. However, I also do think that Crosshair is mentally and physically exhausted from all the experiments he has gotten, because mentioned later down the trailer, Hunter says Omega's been waiting us a long time, and who knows how many experiments they did on Crosshair at the time. Maybe they were going to make him into a Dark Trooper, who knows. But I do think that the most logical reason why Crosshair is looking and feeling like this is because, one, he's fatigued from all the experiments that have gone against him, and two, he found out about Tech's death and feels responsible for it, which is messing with his head. That's my crazy theory for that. As for Omega, they're obviously experimenting with her for, Hemlock reasons. So, yeah, there's that. Fast forward, and we see Dr. Hemlock having a conversation with Palpatine, which we already knew because of the leaked trailer during the Star Wars Celebration. We knew that Hemlock and Palpatine knew each other and are very well aware with each other. Obviously, I'm pretty sure Palpatine supports Hemlock's plan and will say, do everything you can for the clones and stuff, which, honestly, I'm down for. Palpatine is a very intimidating fellow, and he also, in Season 2, keep in mind, said we need to remove clone troopers and move over to stormtroopers instead because of the quote-unquote carnage that they caused on Kamino, even though Palpatine is the reason behind Kamino being destroyed and Rampart was being framed and he was arrested. Now, Hemlock, this is the last time he appears in the trailer talking to Palpatine, so I'm going to give my thoughts on what happens to Hemlock. I do think that Hemlock will get defeated here, as he does not appear in any future Star Wars projects. I think that maybe he will stay at Tantus or will get arrested or possibly killed in Season 3, but time will only tell. I think the most logical thing is that Hemlock will get arrested by the Senate for his very wrongdoings on the experimentation of clones after the season is all said and over. We then see a anonymous clone be a leader of the TK Trooper, army. So, there's rumors that this is Boba, there's rumors that this is Tech, but I think this is just a normal clone. I don't think Boba is going to be that kind of guy to work for the Empire that young at age, especially when they're against clones. And on top of that, Tech is probably most likely dead. I don't think he survived. And I think that this is just a normal clone, like they showed in Season 2 with that anonymous clone hunting down Senator Chuchi. I think that's how you say her name. I apologize if I butchered it, but yeah, and Rex had to save her. So I think this is just an anonymous clone, and let me know what y'all think who this is. We then see Clone Commandos standing up. I think they're just ready to fight someone. I don't know who they're going to fight. Maybe the Batch, maybe the other clones, maybe Rex's army. I don't know. But I do think that afterwards we see Fennec Shand and Cad Bane, which is an iconic rivalry in this series as we saw them in Season 1. Now, this is where things get interesting. Not the most interesting thing, though. That will come to the end, obviously. But Cad Bane and Fennec Shand are known to have a rival in this show, where Fennec was originally capturing Omega for a bounty and then was hired to protect her. whereas Cad Bane at the time was trying to take her while Fennec was trying to protect her. So they got in this all-out brawl and all this and that. And what I think will happen here, I actually do think that Fennec was hired to protect Omega again by Nala Se somehow. But I do think that the Empire is well aware that Nala Se hired Fennec, so they hired Cad Bane to try to take down Fennec. Now, here's the thing, though, about this. Cad Bane is well known to not like the Empire in the Book of Boba Fett, so I wonder if in this season there is a reason why he doesn't like the Empire. Because in Season 1, he had no problem working for them trying to get Omega. But down the line, he seemed to have hated the Empire. So maybe we'll see that. Maybe the Empire betrays him, fires him, and he's really mad at them for that. Or the Empire doesn't pay him if he gets the job done. Or if the Empire just lets him go altogether and tarnishes his reputation. Maybe all those happen. I think the most logical thing, though, is the Empire probably tarnishes his reputation as he fails to get the mission done. But I am really excited to see Fennec and Cad Bane. Oh, and yeah, another thing, I'm going to skip ahead in the trailer. Fennec Shand is shown on a boat with Hunter and Wrecker, where Hunter gets, freaking chomped up by a swamp monster where Wrecker has to jump in. It seems like Fennec is working with the Batch here, as she doesn't seem like she is fighting, and Wrecker and Hunter seem to be calm on the boat while she's on it for that split second, and Wrecker jumps in to help Hunter. Whereas Fennec could have easily sped away in the boat, but she didn't. She stayed there and didn't even try attempting fleeing. So I know it's only like a short glimpse of it, but I do think that Fennec is working with the Batch here. We also get a quick glimpse of Wolf in this trailer. It's literally like a blink and you'll miss it, but Wolf is appearing in the trailer. We already know that Wolf was going to be in Season 3. It was pretty much confirmed at the Star Wars Celebration. And what I think Wolf is doing here is he's still working with the Empire, but he eventually will get his microchip probably removed or whatever it's called. I think it's called a microchip. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Wolf will get it removed eventually. And we do know that he survives. He's in Star Wars Rebels, where he seems to have like PTSD from the Empire and still seems like a little bit conflicted with the Empire and is scared of them. So I think that Wolf is working with the Empire, but he will slowly change to work with the Batch and Rex down the line, along with Gregor. Which then puts us with Echo. He appears only a little bit in the trailer, and I want to talk about him. I don't think Echo will... I really hate to say this. I don't think Echo will survive. Echo is known for being close with Rex, and Echo went off with Rex in Season 2. And in Star Wars Rebels, obviously, Echo's not in it. It's only Rex, Wolf, and Gregor. So I think that Echo is unfortunately going to die. I'd hate to see it, because Echo is one of my favorite characters in the Clone Wars. And seeing him, quote-unquote, die the first time was heartbreaking, and I don't want to see him die, but I unfortunately think that he is going to get the torch snuffed, and he's going to die. We then see Omega driving a ship. I think this one's self-explanatory. She's trying to escape Tantus. I'm not going to get too much into that. I think that's pretty obvious. We then see Rex giving orders, thanks to subtitles, saying, "Everyone, get down!" Whereas Hunter replies, "We're not good at following orders." But if you look closer, who is this guy with the sniper right here? Yeah, that looks like a guy that is really good with snipers, Crosshair. Now, I do think that Crosshair does escape, and maybe he does escape early, and maybe I'm wrong, but Crosshair definitely escapes and is fighting against the Empire here, and he rejoins the Batch and redeems himself. We then get shots of a walker shooting what seems to be Tantus, because it's always dark at Tantus. 2, the scenery looks like Tantus. And 3, there's a bunch of TKA troopers all over the place, guarding the place. So I think that's what happens. The Batch tries to infiltrate Tantus, as they obviously find it somehow. And that leads us to easily the most shocking part of the trailer, Asajj Ventress's return to Star Wars animation. From my knowledge, we haven't seen her since the Clone Wars, and obviously we have the book called The Dark Disciple. I hope I'm saying that right. I never read it. But for the people out there saying that she's dead, the Bad Batch will tie in parts of The Dark Disciple to the story of Ventress being in the season. Now, there's also things to consider. Will Quinlan Vos also be in this season? And to be honest, I think he will, because he was a big part on Ventress, and if it's going to tie into the Dark Disciple, I think that Ventress's master, Quinlan Vos, will be in there. I think he's her master. Again, I've not read the book, so correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, I think that's what happened there. Then the trailer ends with a shock on our faces. We're like, wow, this actually looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm gonna give some predictions for characters that didn't appear in the season that I think will appear in the season. I'm gonna name 3 that I think are a guaranteed lock to return. I think number 1 is easily Grand Moff Tarkin. I mean, he's like the primary antagonist of the series. And I know Rampart was and Hemlock's here, but Tarkin's pretty much the main reason all of this is happening, because not trusting the Batch, sending all that stuff out to shoot the Batch down, and Tarkin's gonna think that they're responsible for blowing up the base when, and in fact, was my number 2 pick, Saw Gerrera. I do think that Saw Gerrera will make another cameo in Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3. Now, I absolutely despise Saw, but it wouldn't make sense for him not to appear, since he is the reason why Tech died, because it cut the power rail, and then Tech fell to his death in a very sad manner. Now, Saw Gerrera, I think, will eventually side with the Batch and understand what they're trying to get, because, again, Saw Gerrera hates the Empire. We know he survived, so he's going to somehow survive against the Empire. And that leads me to my number 3 pick, Commander Cody. Now, I know he only appeared in 1 Bad Batch episode, don't get me wrong, but Cody is mentioned in Rebels, and he's not in Rebels. So hopefully we get a story on Cody and what happened to him. Maybe the Empire gets to him and assassinates him for leading the Empire and gets revenge on him, but I don't know. I really hope that doesn't happen. Now, I'm going to give my insight on what I think will happen at the end of the season. I got 2 possibilities. 1, most of the clones die in a very depressing manner, and only a few survive and flee and survive, pretty much. Another option I got is they flee to Pabu, where most of them stay and some of them die in the war between the Empire. Now, what do I think is the most logical thing? I think that both will mix in here. I do think that the surviving clones will go to Pabu, and a couple of them will try to still fight for clone rights. And I do think that this is going to have a very, very sad ending to the Bad Batch, and this might be one of the final, if not the final, clone projects we will get. So for anyone that's saying this show is bad, be grateful for what you get, because this might be the last time we see a clone in a Star Wars TV show. Anyways, that is my crazy predictions for Bad Batch Season 3. I am so excited for this season. I cannot wait till it comes out. If you guys did enjoy the video, please do leave a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button as I upload from time to time. I'm sorry, I have a hard time spelling the word, okay? Don't hate the game, hate the player. So hate me. But yeah, I will catch y'all later. Have a good one. And good soldiers follow orders. Peace.